Welcome back. It has been maybe even a little over a month since our last one, and I did have a lot going on. My sister got married in a different state, so traveled for that, stayed a little bit longer. Then when I got back here, there was some life things that, I needed to be really present for, but then I noticed myself kind of freeze in pressure. I think this happens to a lot of us. It certainly happens to me a lot. Whether it's something that we want to do, something that we want to say, we just freeze. We have this pressure, this feeling like we have to get it right. As humans, we're going to get it wrong. That's kind of a part of being human. It's not always going to be perfect, but we have this pressure on us like we have to say the right thing or make the right choice every single time because we're afraid of getting it wrong. We're afraid of hurting people's feelings. We're afraid of being seen as naive or immature or not well researched or cultured enough. But what I keep coming back to, and what's kind of allowed me to come back on today, is knowing my heart, knowing who I am. When we move from a heart-centered place, when we move from our values, when we know that we are a good-hearted person, that we're just doing our best, it's okay when we make mistakes. And it's okay when we make mistakes and anger and all of those other things too, as long as we can acknowledge it and make the changes that we need to make. But this is what I'm thinking about a lot lately. And in the world that we live in today, there is a pressure to get it right. That's very real. I mean, people have lost their jobs, lost their businesses, been exiled from families, all for having the quote unquote wrong opinion or the wrong view on something. And it's such a shame that that this is the trend that's happened and that it's created this fear inside all of us. There's this one line in the church committee report, which is the only time the intelligence agencies have ever been held to account. It was done in 1975. There was a Senate committee hearing that looked into CIA, FBI, IRS, NSA, and they saw all the dirty tactics. It's incredible. 1,000 pages of just expose on all the stuff that they did. But there's one line in there that I really liked because senators and congressmen became aware, and this is even relates to civil rights leaders, they became aware that they were being watched, that they were being tracked, that there was information being gathered on them. And that information didn't even have to be used against them because as soon as they knew that they were being watched, that there was a risk, they started to silence themselves. It was the fear of being surveilled alone that made people stay quiet. And I can see that happening in our own world today, for sure. And I think the most glaring instance of this has to do with Israel and Gaza and the US, because we're very much involved, if we're being honest. And I don't think that everyone needs to speak on this. I don't think that everyone needs to go on social media and say their opinion with passion. But I think especially if you feel like you're called to speak out, if you feel like you want to say something and you stop yourself, that's where we can adjust ourselves, where we can, again, know that I'm coming from a heart-centered place. I'm not going to speak on it when I am emotionally volatile and I just saw a really horrendous clip and I can't believe this, and you're coming raging at the camera or raging at whoever you're talking to get your point across. If we can take a minute, calm down, like, okay, I'm coming from a place of, I value human life. I value justice in this world or whatever it is that you value. And what I see going on is not right. Most of us are not going to know the full history of everything that has ever happened. And history is convoluted. They change things are tweaked, they're framed a different way. So in this world especially, it's really hard to know what's the truth or not. And that's sad because even that alone can put you in kind of a paralyzed state to not speak like, well, I don't know. AI exists now. All these pictures could be faked. All these videos could be faked. And when can we trust what we see? When can we trust the feelings that we're having? That's tricky. I think it's okay to say, look, this is what I see happening. I think that this is really what's happening. And I am adamantly against this. I mean, from my perspective, I think we've seen enough videos, we've seen enough photos of of Gaza being bombed, of buildings being bombed, of groups of people just walking and them being shot, of people going for aid and them being taken out. It's just absolutely horrendous. And now we're seeing these images come out of the people that are starving. How many videos do we need to see of, like, this one, a building is on fire and a girl is walking on a second story trying to find her way out? How much of this can we look at and tell ourselves that it's okay? And when we hear the justification of, oh, they're using human shields and all these things, and this is just where I'm coming from, it is not okay. It is not okay at all. And I can't believe that my money, my tax dollars are going towards this. And it can be scary to speak out because, they might say, oh, you're an anti-Semite. But can't we see that the loss of human life, the murdering of civilians, the death that is happening is not okay? There's got to be a different way to go about this to take out the terrorists. There's got to be a different way. And in this world where we know for a fact that our government is lying to us constantly, why the hell do we think that a government of another country, Israel, is going to be telling us the truth? Why would they do that? We can't believe the things that they say, and it's so obvious now. This is where it can get a little bit frustrating, but I think that there is a wave of people waking up right now. I think the first wave happened during COVID, which I don't know how you feel about that. We can go back into it and talk about it. All the lies, all the voices that were silenced that later turned out to be right. Why are we shutting down discussion in the times when they need to be had the most? Why are we silencing people, making people scared of speaking out when they need to be had the most, when they need to be heard the most? Why are we silencing ourselves when our voices are the most valuable? I mean, our own government is so clearly lying to us about Epstein. We had people before they were officially in office talking about how they were going to release the Epstein files. Ghislaine was, so this is Epstein's number 2. She's in jail for trafficking. For trafficking to who? And if she was Epstein's right hand, then he trafficked, right? So then why did our government release a statement to the people saying there was no trafficking, there's no blackmail, none of this stuff? It is an absolute insult to our intelligence. They think that they can just get away with this, that we're just going to forget about it. And how horrible for Trump to then start attacking his base, who they got him elected. And now he has completely turned on them. Why has he turned on them? Why is he saying that this is all lies, that this is all a big fraud and hoax from the Democrats? Oh my gosh, shut up. Oh my gosh, shut up. When we see new information, we have to be able to change our opinion on things. And I know that a lot of people are so disappointed in what's happening with the Trump administration right now. By the way, I'm sorry if you can hear the gardeners, but I'm just going to keep going, okay? I think a lot of people are disappointed, and it's okay to be disappointed. There were promises that were made that are not being kept. People had hope. People really thought that things might change, and that's okay. That's okay. In times when things are a mess, it's okay to want to believe that someone's going to come in and change things. But we're waking up now to the fact that the government is not on the side of the people, and it never has been. Or maybe it was in the very beginning. I don't know. I need to go back and look at things some more. But they haven't been for a very, very long time. And there's plenty of evidence of this. They lie to us. They cheat us. They steal from us. And then they take our money and support countries who are killing innocent people. And they want us to be silent. They want us to be okay with it. And they're going to call us anti-Semites or other things if we don't agree with it. Now, I'm not making a hard stance on what I think about Israel. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm just taking a stand against the murder, the brutal murder and mutilization of innocent people, no matter what the circumstances are. It's never okay. And the fact that we can't say that, the fact that we're being silenced once again. And it's interesting that, the right was the one who was speaking out somewhat against the COVID things, right? And they were trying to say, you can't silence conversation, you can't call us all these things. And now look what the right is doing. It's doing it against their own people and against people on the left who are wanting to say that what's happening in Palestine is not okay. So I think people are waking up that the corruption, the manipulation, it's on all sides. It's on all sides. And it is now up to the people to come together and for us to be able to have conversations, for us to be okay with not always getting it right, to know that, okay, I'm coming from my heart. And so when I'm coming from my heart, it's okay if I express this thing because I value human life. That's why I'm saying these things. Or I value honesty, or I value being able to talk through things. And we don't have to get stuck in researching, especially when it comes to like Israel and Gaza. For a while, they were trying, the strategy that was used to silence people was, oh, you don't know the history of Israel and Palestine, so you can't speak on it. What? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it would be really great. It would be really nice to know the full history of things. But when I see something happening on my TV screen, when I see enough of it, when I hear enough firsthand accounts, what are supposedly firsthand accounts, and I hate that there's so much doubt in this world today, but there is. That's a reality. I can speak up and I can say, sure, I don't know the history. I don't know the full thing, but I know that what I'm seeing is wrong. But they use these tactics of you don't have enough information, and so then we can just get stuck researching, trying to understand, but then we see 5 different opinions that are all saying different things, and we get stuck. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be certain. I think all that we're being asked to do is be honest. Come from your heart. Don't allow yourself to be silenced when you want to speak. And it's okay to get it wrong. There's getting it wrong and being afraid, needing to get it perfect isn't just on this one topic alone. It applies to so many other things. But this was just really what I wanted to focus on today. Because if we stop trying to get it right all the time, maybe we can finally let it be real. So I invite you, if you want to speak up about anything, let yourself speak up. Now, the gardeners are getting too loud, so I'm going to close out on this one. But we'll be back. And I'm going to be imperfect, but this is where I'm at. And I'm coming from my heart. I'm coming from a place of compassion for humanity, of wanting people to be able to live their life, for it not to be cut short. I'm coming from a place of wanting people to have the courage to speak honestly, no matter if they feel like they're ready or not. And I also am coming from a place of knowing that the government and that people lie constantly. So one thing that I love doing is exposing government lies. And we'll get back to that soon. So thank you for joining me today. I'll see you on the next one.